Hello, everybody. Welcome back. If you're still hanging out and keeping up with the series so far, I think we're up to part 5 now. And this is the Japanese 1890 campaign that we're playing through, The Rise of the Dragon. We're currently in 1893. We're still grinding away at China in this war. You can see our current situation here. We're still building docks. We're still kind of in the black here as far as the monthly balance. The Chinese fleet is down to just one battleship, but they're building 2 more. They got 3 heavy cruisers building 1 and 3 light cruisers, and they're building a whole slew of corvettes. Our fleet is pretty much all ready to go. We have 1 little corvette that's being repaired. But other than that, we're ready for an engagement. So let's just kind of go next turn and see what we get. Cool. Let's hope that, what is this, nighttime engagement? I guess we're sort of hoping for a contact that puts us real close on top of someone, and we can put some torpedoes into them. So there we go. Go up to max speed, turn to intercept them. We're currently at a sea state that is limiting the speed. I don't know what it limits it to, but it seems to even everybody out. All even Steven. This is probably a heavy cruiser because it's flying along so fast. I mean, it's just hauling some booty. Our light cruisers can catch up to him, however. Whoa, hang on. There we go. Hopefully they can catch up to him. Yep, we got some speed here. So really, we're just hoping to get parallel with them, well, slightly ahead, so that we can launch a torpedo. That is our entire fleet doctrine right now, is fast ships. We're going to eat a bunch of hits in order to launch some torpedoes. We're essentially trading the lives of our crew to do some damage. But if we can score torpedo hits, it is major, major damage. Let's start closing in a little bit with the heavy cruiser, the Osama. The Osama has really been a workhorse. It's been in a lot of our cruiser engagements. It's survived a torpedo hit last episode. We were fighting close enough to the Japanese coast that I think it just sort of limped home on its own after the battle was over. And currently we have this thing sandwiched between our two. Okay, I think we got it set on fire as well. And it's turning, so these torpedoes aren't really going to hit no matter what we do. What? Hey, look at that, he turned right into it. So that was his mistake. That gets rid of another heavy cruiser. That brings them down to 2 active heavy cruisers in their fleet. We're going to start getting some fire control breakthroughs. This is just the sort of thing that we really need. The problem is, I don't know if that like just sort of applies to our whole fleet, or if we have to like do upgrades, like basically rebuild the ships in order to get the effect from that. But we are still winning, and we are just out of range of actually, taking the fight to them. So there's not a whole lot we can do other than just sinking ships. Let's use up some of our extra money here to keep building up our infrastructure down here in the south. I thought about this a little bit the other day. And it's our only base in Southeast Asia, so we want it to be protected, and we want a bit of, support fleets that are down there. And we've got a nice little surplus going. We actually need to spend some money so that we don't get to the point that we're going to get our budget cut by the government. All right, the Chinese are declining a lot of fights here. That's a good thing for us. No, we're not going to bother with that. Alrighty. So we did earn a lot of victory points from all the declined battles. Cool, look at this. So our battleships are out. I wonder if that means that their battleships are also out to sea right now. I guess it's just a very stormy sort of season for us because we've been having a lot of sea state limited, or sorry, speed limited by sea states. I don't know if it's typhoon season when it's only partly cloudy. Okay, well, it's identified as a battleship, and it's not exactly moving very quickly. Yep, this might be a chance to sink a battleship. I mean, if we do that, we'll really be putting a hurt on what's left of the Chinese fleet. I mean, they've still got a lot of cruisers that are out raiding us right now. All right, fire off a torpedo. Nope, we need to be a little bit further ahead. And he's turning now. Yeah, I think the AI knows when it's in danger of being torpedoed. So this is one of our new, that's the Kashiwaras, that's one of our new ones, so he doesn't have aft torpedoes, he's just got double broadside. I'm not exactly a fan of the aft torpedo. I think it's the most useless out of the torpedo arrangements. Next to the fore torpedo, like the bow torpedo, I'm not a big fan of that one either. Because you usually kind of have to put yourself into a weird position to launch those. And that is probably that. All the Looks like the bigger division has gone to AI control for whatever reason. And they're just sort of sailing off doing their own thing. So we're going to drop the speed of our fusas down to 8 knots. This will give us more sort of loitering time as this thing goes in circles with its damage. And it's not going to turn. We need to time this torpedo sort of perfectly. That might do it right there. Got it. Now it's dead in the water. We're going to go ahead and put another one into it. And that is that, I believe. I'm going to put the fusas on cruise and we're going to go home. I mean, there's really nothing else to do, is there? I mean, unless they have some, you know, transports or something. There's a land installation. Oh, come on, what the heck are you doing? Let's fix this. Oh, there's something right there. It's marked as a light cruiser. That doesn't actually mean anything at this distance. This thing here is slow. That's probably a corvette or a transport. Yeah, and they can just retreat back into the port. So let's just get out of here. We're not going to be able to sink any of this stuff because as soon as we damage it, it just sort of, you know, pops back into the port there. Alrighty, let's get out of here. And just break contact. All right. Well, I guess we did sink that corvette. I don't know. I assumed it went back inside the port because it, instantly disappeared off the screen. Okay. New docks are complete. We've made advances in hull construction. We're still being rated. I think now we have our two fast ones that are on active fleet. Let's do the Akashis. Well, they don't really have good guns, so let's do two of the Yayamas. Let's just put actually three of those on trade protection. And we can hope to start intercepting some of these Chinese raiders that are out there. But it feels like the war is starting to really swing into our favor now. They don't have the sea power, like they just don't have the blockade power to challenge us, really. Okay. Again, we're just sort of knife fighting with them, trying to get in close. We still haven't identified what kind of ship class this is. And we can just safely assume that it's pretty standard light cruiser. There's two 8-inch guns. If any of those score hits on us, we will be in trouble, but we are packing 6-inch guns on these things here. And the armor on this is 3 inches. So probably every hit really counts. We're just punching holes. Let's fire off the torpedoes while we can. If we can. Appears we can't. Is it? Alright, it's rudder damaged. So we're going to slow down to 8 knots. And just sort of take advantage. There we go. Yep, they are Dunsky. Getting rid of these light cruisers is a little bit bigger deal than it seems, because that's about the only place they're really at par with us anymore. So we're just going to leave. I mean, if we have to sink their navy one ship at a time, that's what we'll do. Until we get to the point where we have overwhelming victory points and we can get what we want out of this war. There we go. That's fine. Yeah, they still have at least three ships out there raiding. I'm not convinced that that's a good use of their ships, because I saw one heavy cruiser, and I think so. They have one heavy cruiser and both light cruisers raiding. So we're getting to the point where we can think about if we end this war with concessions and reparations and whatnot. We're far enough ahead that I think we can probably end up nabbing some of their territory. Now, what I would really like to get is Formosa here. It's worth 5, so that'd be 5 victory points or 5 concession points or whatever. That would be really nice to have. It's a big base capacity, and it's in Southeast Asia, and it also would give us, like if we ever go to war with Spain, it would give us invasion range to hit uh, the Philippines. Barring that, if we could get that, maybe we could also go for like Port Arthur, which is called Laotung Peninsula. That's probably a good one to have. So we'll see. I mean, you never know what we'll get as far as the points differences and whatnot. I mean, the government may agree to. I mean, I do have harsher peace deals turned on, but there's probably still programmed into the game somewhere that'll, even though we're crushing the enemy, the government just be like, yeah, well, you can keep all your stuff, and we'll just go back to the status quo. Let's cut our speed a little bit here to help our gunnery. Is this thing very fast? 15 knots, allegedly. We're hitting it with our little 4 and 3-inch guns. And I didn't even notice that the Sakashi, these Akashis were the ones that we had on in Southeast Asia for our foreign service. And I was thinking about trying to put them on trade protection. I'm glad I didn't try that because it would have forced me to, uh, probably would have forced me to put them back into foreign service because of the you need tonnages. No, I mean this is very one-sided. I almost wish there were like an auto resolve for a cruiser versus a Corvette. Like I would have to really mess up this fight in order to lose, I think. I mean, it's on fire. It's heavily damaged. It's just not slowing down, slowing down enough for us to put a torpedo into it. I think almost every single kill that we have so far has been from being finished off with torpedoes in one way or another. But that is our, that's our doctrine. Is that well, it's not only our doctrine, but it's our main strategy for Japan right now is to, there we go, is to fight with torpedoes. Our gunnery has proven to be subpar up to this point. Yep, there's the tonnage. So it's in repair. So both of those are in repair. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to transfer one of the Yamas over to foreign station. Alrighty. Yeah, I think the Kasagi, wasn't even involved in a fight. I think it had engine problems. There's a little pop-up earlier. So what is this? Did they just finish oh, this is a transport fight. But I was wondering if they just finished a battleship and immediately threw it into combat. I mean, that would be bad for them, but good for us because they'll, you know, have very bad crews. Their training will be subpar. All right. We're just spread out looking for transports. This is usually the worst time to go looking for transports is at night. But it looks like we found them. That's the real disadvantage there of the cruiser or the transport battle is because they'll actively avoid you. And if it's nighttime, there's a good chance that you could potentially never run into their transports at all. Let's send that Kashawara over there. And the reason why we're in cruise speed is we don't need to go fast to catch the transports, and we want to conserve our engines in case the escorts come back, because we did catch a glimpse of something over here initially. I don't know if they're just abandoning their transports to their doom, or if they're, you know, circling back around on their way. But we are sharks among goldfish right now. Whoop, there it is. Yeah, there's the escort come back. Let's get the Kashawara over there to support, because we just took several hits on the Asama. But we scored an 8-inch hit back on them. This might be their sole heavy cruiser. That's actually a nice heavy cruiser. Look at that thing. I mean, it's a little bit slow, but it is well armed and it has a good belt. So let's get this whatever this thing here is, this other light cruiser over there as well. We'll let our battleships handle, because the battleship isn't going to be able to get over here in time to really have an effect on the outcome of this. So the battleships will do their own thing. Again, our battleships are pretty much garbage anyway. About the only good thing they are good for is shooting transports. Nope, we missed. The Osama broke off, which is weird because it's really one of our most veteran ships. I guess communications errors can happen with anyone. Nope, we missed. I mean, at least we're getting some chances. This is a lot better off than we were early in the campaign, where we just couldn't even catch, for whatever reason. I mean, we couldn't catch our opponents to even try a torpedo. How amazing would it be to have swivel mounts on these things so we have a little bit better torpedo arc? What's the Osama doing down there? Well, whatever it's doing, it's pretty happy to keep doing it. And we're scoring a lot of hits on the Chenwei, Chenwei, but we're just, we're not damaging it. I don't think we got 4-inch guns. The best we can hope for, as we noted earlier, like in the first or second episode, is to just set stuff on fire with the HE rounds. And I guess I could take this moment to point out that I do read every comment, and I appreciate anyone who does leave a comment, and I appreciate anyone who watches these. Just know that it does mean a lot to me, that you would take the time out of your day to hang out with me here and see what kind of silly stuff I'm up to for this day. I'm probably going to start streaming, or not streaming, but recording and posting some other games. I also play an old game called BattleTech, which is like an older board game, big stompy robot type things. And there's an online program called MegaMech that lets you simulate the tabletop, so you can play online with your friends, or you can play solo if you want. And there's not a whole lot of tutorials out there for MegaMech, so I've been kind of considering doing some tutorials for that. I've been considering maybe playing Hearts of Iron, even though I'm not any good at Hearts of Iron. Not that I'm any good at this game either. But, if there's any games that you'd be interested in seeing me try out, I could take a look at it. My plan is not to be kind of pigeonholed into any one particular game, because Rule the Waves 3, it's a very fun game, but at the same time, it's also very niche. So I don't see, unless you're a very well established. Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm just getting pounded here. So unless you're like a pretty established YouTuber like RTW or um, some of the other Rule the Wave streamers, I don't see a lot of audience coming in to watch. Not that audience matters. I realize that I'm a very small time streamer, small time YouTuber, and I shouldn't have any expectations that people are gonna turn out to watch me play games like this. So you know what? We might just have to take this win. We've gotten pounded by that heavy cruiser. Again, those 6-inch guns have really put a hurting on us. Unless we get really lucky with our battleships, which are slow and they have very poor weaponry. The Osama doesn't want to fight. Well, doesn't want to, come back into the fold as far as letting me control it again. I mean, this heavy cruiser can just kite us all day long. All right. Well, let's head home. We took a beating, and all we did was manage to pepper that heavy cruiser a little bit with our small guns. We'll actually slow our battleships down a little bit here to keep pace with this thing here so it doesn't get ambushed. All right. Yeah, I mean, we inflicted heavy damage on it, and we sank a lot of transports. It would have been really nice to get rid of it. All right. Widespread demonstrations and disturbances are reported in China. Let's keep going with the war if we can, because we're starting to rack up a lot of victory points every turn as they can't actually come out and meet us in combat. Convoy attack. Yep, 600 victory points for free. I mean, that's just every turn. We're just gaining more victory points. This thing here, we can put it on active fleet, and I think we can move it back to Northeast Asia. And we can send the other Akashi down to Southeast Asia. So that way we'll have the paired up Akashis down there, and we'll keep all our Yayamas up here, which these are our little gunboats. I think, if we would have had, I really think if we would have had Yayamas instead of Kashiwaras in that last fight, we probably would have sank that heavy cruiser. And I don't anticipate running into that heavy cruiser again right here because we inflicted heavy damage on it last battle. So it seems like it probably has to still be in port getting repairs. So these are probably light cruisers we'll be fighting here. Whatever it is, there's more than one. So it looks like at least one Corvette and a light cruiser. Is this thing fast? 20 knots, it can, it can extend the fight a little bit. These things here are 21. The question is, how well armed are they? 2 8-inch guns, 8 6-inch guns. These are our little Nerf gun cruisers, so we're not going to be able to take many hits from those guys. Yep, this is probably going to be pretty ugly unless we get real lucky and they don't hit us for a while. I mean, at best, I guess we can sort of, rake their ship over with these 4-inch guns and do a little bit of damage so that the Osama can come in and do its gunboat thing. I mean, I'm kind of happy to uh, trade shots with the Osama there, because I think the Osama can win that gunfight. Osama has to be an elite crew by now. Oh yeah, so let's take its max down a little bit so that we still maintain some speed, but we get the accuracy. This thing here. I wish I could split my two light cruisers up. This is going to be a little bit of a hard battle to manage with the ships all going in opposite directions from each other. Although it looks like their light cruisers getting to be dead in the water. It's on fire. It's got heavy damage on it. And we just want these light cruisers to catch up with their corvette and sink it. And we don't even have to worry about torpedoes or anything down there. We'll reduce speed a little bit more on the light cruiser division. Uh-oh. I kind of figured that would happen as soon as I looked away. Well, we've lost the Osama. Let's see if we can't get some revenge. No. Well, we finally lost the Osama. I mean, that's probably my fault for dividing my attention. But, I mean, at least we're replacing it with two of these new Kashiwara class. We'll put these into the 5th Cruiser Division. We'll put these into the 3rd Cruiser Division. I like to... Actually, we could put all those into the 1st Cruiser Division. I like to keep my ship classes together. Like, I'll try to group them up by class. And at the same time, I also like to put my newer ships into like my 1, 2, 3, 4 divisions, so that they're uh, supporting my battleships and whatnot. I just assume that they'll appear more often in battles if I do that. So we do have a little bit of a excess budget right now. We've had some research breakthroughs. Our guns are still really bad. So this might be the time to develop some like sort of consistent Corvette classes, because our Corvette classes are um, a little bit of a mishmash. I like having a uniform set of colonial Corvettes. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Let's just, we'll do like some 1500 tonners. Oh, those are pretty heavy. I like 1500, 1600 tons is probably good too. And what we can do is we can strip off the deck. We can add minesweeping gear to it. We can get rid of all these little secondaries. And it's over guns. We go down to 5-inch guns. We strip away the tertiaries. And we have some excess tonnage here. So we increase the speed a little bit. That brings us up to 206 per month. which is kind of fine. We want to spend some money anyway. No, that's too much. Okay. Yep, we want to spend a little bit of money anyway because again, we're getting to the point where we're in danger. Um, let's just go with this is sort of a, forgettable class. It's only going to serve for maybe 8 or 9 years or so. But we are getting to the point where we're in danger of getting our budget cut because we have too much money stored up, I think. I'm not even sure how many of these we should build. We only need 3 for trade protection, but that's in our current situation. If we pick up some of these little colonies from Japan at the end of the war, we may need more. So let's go with like 6 of these things. Save. The question is, I mean, I really want to build new heavy cruisers to replace the Osama, but we just don't have the guns to do it. And we really don't have the guns to do it. Let's try designing one in another. Well, we can't even really design one in another port either, like another nation, because our tension's so high with everybody. It's a little bit of a quandary. Maybe we'll just design a gunboat light cruiser, and that'll just kind of like fill in the gap there between our new torpedo cruisers and the heavy cruiser that we lost. So we got the 5,500 tons, which is already 900 tons bigger than the ships that we're fielding now. We can get rid of these secondaries. Let's go up to 21 knots for gunboats because these aren't going to be our torpedo chasing um, light cruisers that we have now. Increase the gun size to 5 inch or 6. I'd say 6 inch. I mean, they're both quality -1. And what happens if we go to 22? I mean, we could go up to 22 on it, or we could increase the armor. I kind of like the idea of going to 22 knots. We could even decrease the number of shots on here a little bit. I do like the idea of going up to 22 knots. That'll just let us catch anything. And, 2.5 inches of belt. What if we increase the tonnage a little bit? 5,700 tons. That gives us a 3-inch belt, which is, it's a lot better than uh, some of the stuff that's out there right now. We have essentially 3 6-inch guns per side, or maybe 4 6-inch guns per side. We can add maybe a turret. We can add an aft turret. We can get rid of that. We get rid of that, but then we add like those. Come on. Delete, delete. We add a forward turret. Let's just clear all the turrets. So we go forward, aft. We go port, starboard. That gives us 4 6-inch guns per side. And that's probably fine. We don't want this thing to get too big. We still have to pay for it. It leaves 39 extra tons left over. We'll use that for fire control in the future, I guess. Do we bother with any secondaries? No, that would take up a lot of our space there, but only have, I mean, really only 6 guns per side isn't even great. What if we went down? That would essentially let us add about, I don't know, 4 more guns. But I do like having the 6 inchers. The thing is, if we want to add more, we're going seriously overweight. Okay. I mean, we do have to accept that there are limitations. Well, we could do that actually. So we could go pretty crazy with it. That gives us a lot of firepower. And we go up a little bit more, and it actually ends up being cheaper because we went down on the engine. It was like 1,000 before. I mean, this can probably work. I mean, this is a nice gunboat. One, two, three, four, five, six. Gives us a 6 gun broadside. It's still going 21 knots with a 3.5 inch belt now. Leaves us 18 tons left over to install a fire control later on. Let's pick a name for it. We'll go with the Katori. All right. And by the time the building plans are done on that, the other 2 Kashiwaras should be finished. And that'll give us about 2,500, actually way more than that. That gives us close to 3,000 monthly balance. We can start building the new light cruisers maybe in threes or maybe even 4 at a time. Anyway, we're again right about the 40-minute mark. If you're still hanging out with me, I really, really, really appreciate it. I know it's like a cliche thing to say on YouTube, but if you could hit the thumbs up button there, give me a like, it would, help me out with some visibility, get me um, more of a chance, I guess, to show up on other people's feeds. Anyway, thank you again for hanging out, and be sure to sail safely.